Hi guys, how you doing? Hope you're doing okay. Instead of reading through the full article, I'm going to give you my overview. We'll just skim through the article to make sure I get the details correct. There's a link in the description. It is a tragic situation. It involves the death of 3 people, including 2 Pennsylvania troopers that we see here. Trooper Martin F. Mack III, 33 years of age, as well as Trooper Brandon T. Siska, 29 years of age, as well as a third man who has been identified, but the police haven't released his name as they haven't been in a position to notify his family. So I'll give you an overview of what happened. And again, there is a link in the description if you'd like to go through that more closely. So this happened on early Monday at around 12:40 a.m. on Interstate 95 South in the Pennsylvania area. A car slammed into them, killing all 3. So what was happening was the 2 troopers were trying to apprehend. I'll use the word apprehend. That may be the wrong word, but they were somewhat dealing with a man that was walking on the highway. He was walking on the highway. The 2 troopers were, going to apprehend him or do whatever they needed to do, attending to him. A vehicle was coming, seemingly at speed. That might be speculation on my part. And a vehicle was coming up, and it was traveling on the shoulder of the highway, which, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that would be illegal. And it was traveling on the shoulder to avoid the scene of, I presume, the SUV in the highway or such, some kind of blockage in the lanes. So this driver was on the shoulder and struck all 3, the 2 troopers as well as the unidentified man. All 3 died on the scene. We're told here that the impact of the crash was so great that it threw the troopers over into the northbound lanes of the interstate, and that's a quote from the police captain who held a news conference later in the day. So it is an absolute tragedy, of course. The emergency services or such were able to arrive on the scene. CPR was performed, but all 3 victims were pronounced dead on the scene. As I mentioned, the name of the non-trooper, the third man, has not been released because the police haven't been able to notify his family, his relatives, of the death. Now, another twist to this tragic story is that the driver of the car that struck the 3 of them, the 2 troopers and the additional man, had previously been stopped earlier in the day by these 2 troopers. And that driver was stopped by these 2 troopers earlier in the day on suspicion of DUI, drinking under the influence. So that was a lady, that was seemingly a lady driver that struck the 3 of them, if I understand correctly. The 2 troopers had to leave dealing with that lady because they received a call about this man walking on the highway. So they had stopped the lady on suspicion of DUI. They left her because they had something else to attend to, and seemingly this female driver that was previously stopped by these two troopers, drove on the shoulder, presumably at speed, that's speculation, and subsequently hit the 2 troopers and the additional man, killing them. After that crash, the driver of that vehicle continued along the I-95, and seemingly they carried on driving after having crashed into and killed 3 people. They carried on driving. So thankfully that person is can't think of the right term, but has been apprehended. They're in custody. I presume they're not going to get bail, I would hope. So that's really the information that we have. It's an absolute tragedy. Two officers, two troopers, I'm not sure of the difference of the definitions, two troopers tragically struck down whilst they're doing their jobs, aiding the community, and they get struck down in the line of duty, allegedly, perhaps, by some female driver that perhaps was driving under the influence, perhaps at speed, perhaps illegally driving on the shoulder, and either way, the driver struck the three of them, killing two troopers, Martin F. Mack III and Trooper Brandon T. Siska, as well as another unidentified man. What a senseless loss of life. Condolences to the families concerned of all three victims. Condolences to the police department. They're going to be shattered. To the local community, I would imagine. Yeah, what a tragic loss of life. So let's hope that a trial does go ahead. I would imagine that it does, with this driver that has, I believe, been apprehended. And let's hope that they get the full weight of the law thrown at them, causing the death of three people. If there's no extenuating circumstances, then I would think that they would absolutely deserve the book absolutely thrown at them. Life in prison, I would be thinking. That would be my go-to. If there were no extenuating circumstances, if there was a mechanical failure or such, perhaps a lesser sentence. But certainly if the driver is guilty, then they need to be locked away for a very long time. I'm going to wrap things up here. Again, condolences to the family. It is a tragedy. If you do like this type of content, I try to cover these stories from today, from yesterday. If you do like that type of thing, please do give me a bit of encouragement, a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll thank you for your time.